Hi, Facebook live stream viewers. Paula Shaw here. You're backstage at Change It Up Radio, and I'm so glad you're here. We're going to be talking today with Tom Paladino about the herpes challenge that we launched last month and see where things are going with that. Many of you will remember that I shared my results, which are right here. You can't probably see too well from a distance, but these were my results of getting a negative DNA test on my own herpes 1 test. So no more cold sores for me. Wouldn't a lot of you like to join me in that? Yeah, let's all do it together. Tom's offering this to us free, and he'll be with us a little later in the show to talk more about it. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. We're going to be also talking today about checking in and working with your inner child and the importance of that. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do? Change it up. Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome to Change It Up Radio, here with Paula Shaw. I'm delighted to have you with me today. We have lots of cool things to talk about in this show. We'll be joined a little later by Tom Paladino, who you all remember is our scalar energy expert. And Tom and I launched the herpes challenge a month ago. And so far we have several people who are doing the treatment and who have also signed up. As you may remember, Tom offered a free that he would pay for the PCR test to prove your results that you no longer had herpes. And so we're excited about that. Many of you may remember that I shared my results, negative results, by the way, after receiving a scalar therapy session. So we want to encourage more and more people to jump on this bandwagon. So herpes 1, herpes 2, herpes 8, 9, 10, whatever's out there will be gone forever. And we won't have any more of those awful days when cold sores pop up just when you've got a big moment or a big interview or a marriage or something happening in your life. So Tom will be with us in a little bit. First of all, we're going to do a little bit of talking about whether or not you have been checking in with your inner child. This has been showing up a lot in my private practice lately. So I decided I'd really like to talk a bit today about the inner child and doing inner child, working with your inner child, because it can change your life. It can make such a huge difference. So we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But first, I just want to welcome everyone to Change It Up Radio. And as most of you know, I'm Paula Shaw. I am an author of 3 books: Chakras, the Magnificent 7, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And my latest book, and one of my faves, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And this book is a little book that I think packs a big punch. And it has been, so well received by people who say it's been invaluable in helping them navigate difficult conversations, because we don't know what to say when we're uncomfortable. It's tricky. It's hard. And when we're uncomfortable and we feel incompetent, we often avoid the situation. And then when that happens, we may be letting down people who really need us, who need our comfort, who need our support, who need our love. So, saying the right thing when you don't know what to say is available on Amazon, as is the grief book and the chakra book. They're all available on Amazon. And I encourage you, if you're in a life circumstance, and we all are sooner or later, right? Where you've got to have those difficult conversations, whether you're somebody's boss or whether you're in a relationship that needs to be dealt with a little bit or maybe worked on, or whether you've got some friendships or family issues that are requiring you to have some difficult conversations. This could be the book that will really help you to do that more effectively and more confidently. So I encourage you to get it if you can, and you can get it at Amazon. All right. Also, I wanted to remind everybody that if you want more information about me, how I work with people in my private practice, you can get that information on paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com. Also, I want to encourage you to go to our radio website, changeitupradio.com. Changeitupradio.com. You can get so much good information there that will really help you with, well, first of all, you can listen to past episodes, and we've had such amazing guests. So much good information has been given over the year now that we have been on the air as Change It Up Radio. And as you may remember, I was on the air for 2 years prior to that with Transition Radio. So it's been a wonderful journey. I'm really loving our time together here on Change It Up Radio because we have the privilege and the opportunity to bring people information that can really help them deal with the upheaval of change. And we also have the opportunity to spotlight some amazing beings out there who are the change makers that are making the world a better place. So you can find out, you can listen to past episodes, you can get information about being a guest on this show, being a sponsor of this show, and just seeing who's been on this show already and what we offer you as far as building your own brand and building your visibility. So please check out changeitupradio.com. Okay, so today I really want to talk a bit about this whole idea of building a relationship with your inner child. It seems, as I was mentioning, that a lot of people have been showing up in my practice lately with issues of anxiety, sadness, depression, anger, a lot of things that call out for inner child work. Because remember, whenever we're experiencing extreme emotions, whether that means you're jumping up and down at a football game, or you're jumping up and down with anger, or you're happy and thrilled and giggling your head off, those sorts of more extreme emotions, the bigger ones, the ones that are more impactful, those emotions are more experienced by our inner child. It's the child that likes to jump up and down when they're happy and stomp their foot when they're angry. And we all have this aspect of our subconscious mind. We have an inner child, we have an inner adolescent, and then there's even the inner adult, that part of us that may not be able to express itself as authentically in an outward way in our lives. Because as we talked about last week, many of us have made huge investments in our image or our facade, and maybe to the point that we have robbed ourselves of our authenticity and the joy of experiencing life as who we really are, not who we think we need to be, not who people tell us we should be, but who we are, who we were born to be. And that inner child work becomes when people are trying to deal with problematic issues is because most of us received our original wounding when we were children. So whether that was a disappointment, abuse, fear, a traumatic event, someone we love dying, a car accident, no matter what happened, we all go through traumatizing events when we're children, and they imprint us. And that imprint affects us dramatically in how we respond to life, how we interact in the world. And so if here we are in our adult years or even our teenage years, and we aren't feeling good about how we're interacting in the world, we're not feeling good about life, then there's a very good possibility that what needs to be done is some work with the inner child. And I want to speak more specifically about that in in just a moment. But first I want to kind of set the stage through a story. One of my clients is experiencing right now extreme anxiety when issues come up in relationship to the family. So let me give you a little bit of understanding how this can happen. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the family. It can be a totally loving, wonderful family who just wants their best for you, right? But maybe what they think is right for you is not your dream of what you want to experience in your life. Maybe the career they think would really be great isn't one you're drawn to at all. I mean, we know this has been happening over time for probably thousands of years. Fathers wanting their sons to take over their business, and the son has no interest in doing that. And it can be really difficult because let's say you're a son who's musically inclined, like my nephew Patrick, who's been gifted with music since he was a child and could actually play piano behind his back and actually make music. So obviously, Patrick was not born to go into sales or to run a construction team or to do those sorts of things. He was gifted with creativity and the ability to create music. So luckily for him, his father and his mother were very open to him going out into the world and becoming the person that he was born to be. And this, of course, is the ideal situation. And I think more and more today, more and more parents are open to their children expressing who they really are. And that may be completely different from who the parents are. That may mean a whole different spiritual perspective. It may mean a whole different perspective as far as what they want to eat, what they don't want to eat, how they want to live their lives, whether they're into fitness or not. There are all sorts of differences between parents and children, right? And unfortunately, some parents out there just really have this perspective that the child is like their clay to mold into what they want it to be in life. And they don't really look at the fact that this clay has a life of its own and an energy of its own. And to truly be joyful and fulfilled and happy in life, this being needs to express who it is, who he or she is. And when that you're not allowed that, when parents, maybe like when I was young, a lot of parents had the belief children are to be seen and not heard. They weren't asking us what we thought. They weren't involving us in choice making because that's not how people thought about children then. And now it's very different. You know, I was at a family event over the weekend because of Easter and noticed my darling little niece, Giada. She's 3. And when this little person talks, everybody's glued to what she says. It's the most beautiful thing, and she knows it. You can just feel how she feels affirmed and important and loved. And that's what children should get. That's how it should be. But it isn't like that for all children. Some children aren't listened to at all. Some children are hit. Some children are physically or sexually abused. Some children are told they'll never be anything. And when these kinds of experiences happen to a child, there is an imprint, a wounding that goes very deep. And even if you work hard and you're a financial success in your life as an adult, if that wounding doesn't get tended to, what can evolve can be very problematic, whether emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. It can take its toll on many levels. And I really want to talk more about this because I'm just feeling it's so important today. And so as soon as we come back from this message, we're going to talk a little bit more about how do you work with that inner child? How do you know if anything's bothering your inner child? And what are things that you can do? What are practical things you can do to make sure your child is happy and healthy? All right, we'll see you in just a minute after this break.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Sherry Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Sherry Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw. And after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking and we are being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. So glad you're here with me today because we're talking about some really important things. In our next segment, Tom Paladino will be with us and we'll be talking about the herpes challenge and how you can rid your life of herpes forever. But right now, I want to continue the discussion we were just having about working with your inner child and the importance of this. And so in the last segment, I was saying that there are many kinds of things that can wound us in childhood that cause us to develop certain behaviors, certain ways of responding to life. For example, if you were somebody who was physically abused, then the way you might respond to life is is with a little trepidation, timidity even. It may be difficult for you to step into situations where you're very visible or you have to be in control or in power because somebody took your power away and emphasized that you were powerless when you were being physically abused. So even things like living through an earthquake or some other kind of natural disaster and experiencing the fear and the trauma, if you in some tropical place, and of all the bizarre things, I ended up being there when a tsunami hit. Obviously, that would be pretty terrifying, and who knows, what all that would entail. But I might then, not only would I be afraid probably of the ocean and big waves, but I might also develop a limiting belief, a limiting subconscious belief. So I don't even know on a conscious level that I have that belief. And my belief might be the world isn't a safe place. Now, if I don't know I have that belief, it's going to be pretty hard for me to work on it, even if I go into therapy. And fortunately, one of the reasons I love the tools of energy psychology, the neuroscience and the mind-body tools that I use in my practice, is that we can get to what's in the subconscious mind. We can find out what's in there. Because if you don't know, you're just baffled by the fact that maybe you're afraid of wide open spaces, or maybe you get really nervous anytime you're anywhere near the ocean, or maybe you have to be sure you lock the windows 3 times before you go to sleep at night. And you don't know why you do this sort of thing. You don't know why you fear water. But through the tools that we have, tools like muscle testing, we can find out what limiting beliefs you're holding in your subconscious mind. And then we have other tools that can help you clear those beliefs so they're not running your life anymore. Because not only, remember, the subconscious mind is 95% of your mind functioning. This part here that we're trying to run our lives with on a daily basis, the conscious mind, is only 5%. That's why I was explaining to a client just this week, when you're in a really emotional condition, logic does not help you change that. You can't talk yourself out of an emotional condition with logic. And unfortunately, so often when friends try to help us and have conversations with us, they're not addressing what we're feeling. They're trying to say something logical and intellectual to help us change how we're feeling. And most of the time, that's pretty ineffective, because when we're into a real feeling state, like let's say anxiety, that's a right brain process. Logic and intellect is a left brain process. So you can't logic your way out of an intense emotional experience. But if somebody meets you where you are, this is also something I talk about in this book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. When someone's emotional, don't go to intellectual information. First of all, acknowledge what you're seeing. Maybe you say something like, I can see this is terrifying for you. Or I can see this has just really got you in a tizzy. You're just really freaked out. I'm so sorry. Would a hug be helpful? Because sometimes when people are all emotional and the energy is going in every different direction, a hug can be so good. It can be so helpful to contain that emotion. And I mentioned that we were going to talk in this segment about some ways to work with your inner child. Sometimes I wake up in the night and I don't even know, was it a scary dream I just had? Or is it something that's going on with my inner child, but my heart will be racing and I'll just have that fearful feeling and not really be able to figure out why. And what I found is one of the most effective things to do. First, I start with hugging myself right around the middle of my body. I just give myself a good hug. And then I visualize me as a little girl just being held by me and being squeezed, with her legs wrapped around me and her arms wrapped around me really tight. And then I just tell her, we're okay. We're okay, and I am right here, and I'm not leaving you. I've got your back, and I'm going to just hold you and hug you till you feel safe and calm again. And sometimes you need to do that even at the office. If your boss just reprimanded you or somebody said something unkind to you, you may need to do it around family and friends because suddenly something they said or did is causing a reaction that you didn't expect. You know, I recently heard from a client who was saying a visit from a couple of family members during Easter was just suddenly triggered in him some trauma, some anxiety, and he wasn't really quite sure what to do with it. And again, my first thought is, even if you can't hug yourself, if you're in the middle of a restaurant and that doesn't feel comfortable, close your eyes. Close your eyes, see yourself as a child, and pick that child up, snuggle him on your lap, or hug him really tight. And remember, children are really not, it's not at that age when we journal or we did maybe even meridian tapping like I work with clients in doing, or visualization work. When something upsets us or scares us when we're children, we cry. We cry or we scream or we just kind of freak out, don't we? Because that's the authentic response when we're upset or scared. And so one of the things I've found really helpful, every morning, as I've shared before, I meditate before I get out of bed. And that meditation just centers me with my mind, my body, spirit, and it just takes me to a much more uplifted place to engage in my day. But one of the parts of my meditation that I do faithfully every morning is checking in with my inner child. And I just see her. I see Paula as a little girl, and I say, how you doing today? And then I watch to see what her face looks like. Is she sad? Is she scared? Is she happy? Is she can't wait to get into the day? Is she excited about something we're going to do that day? And those things tell me, and then I ask her, what do you need? What can I do for you? And sometimes she says, I want to go to Disneyland. And you know what? In a 3-minute visualization, you can take your kid to Disneyland for the day and see all the cool rides and see them having fun and eating fun food. And it makes a difference. I know it sounds like this is all on some airy-fairy fantasy level, but the truth is, our inner children are a very real part of the subconscious mind. I find, too, when I'm dealing with clients that have eating disorders and a lot of other different kinds of things, we come back to discontent, either with the inner child or the inner adolescent. We'll talk more about this in other shows because I think it's huge. I think it's really important, and we need to really get into it. All right, but right now we're going to take a little break, and then Tom Paladino is going to be joining us to talk about scalar energy and the herpes challenge. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Sometimes life throws you a curve. It can be a health scare, divorce, loss of a job, or death of a loved one. And big changes can make you feel stressed out and anxious, depressed, or unable to sleep. Nothing feels comfortable or safe, and that's a tough place to be. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk it over with? Someone who understands why you feel the way you do and knows how to help. Paula Shaw is a life transitions counselor, an expert therapist that can help you deal with unwanted destabilizing change or disruption in your life. Using a variety of mind-body techniques and psychology processes, she helps identify the key issues, eliminating self-sabotage and doubt to get you rapid results. Paula Shaw Counseling is open to all people, all ages, and all walks of life. Big life changes can be tough. Paula Shaw can help you get through it. Call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234. 858-480-9234.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire Consulting Firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And as promised in this segment, we are going to be talking with Tom Paladino, a researcher in Florida who has created a cutting-edge scalar energy treatment that is helping people rid themselves of HIV, Ebola, herpes, hepatitis, Lyme disease, and over 400,000 pathogens that cause disease. Tom is an amazing guy. He's one of our sponsors and one of our favorite people. And Tom, welcome to the show. It's good to see you again, or to be talking with you again.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for the invite once again, Paula. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And what about you, Tom? How are you?
Everything is well. Thanks for asking.
Very
Why not?
good. So, Tom, as I mentioned to the audience, you have your research facility in Florida, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And how long have you been doing scalar research?
My life. It's a lifelong passion. It takes a great deal of effort. My life. With that in mind, 30 years, 35 years.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, just lost my focus for a second. So you have developed instruments, though,
That's correct.
can take scalar energy and do some pretty amazing things with it. So will you tell our audience a little bit about that and how it works?
Sure. I'm working on their scalar instruments. They're not electromagnetic. They're not electrical instruments. And with these custom-built instruments, you can do incredible things. And what I'm working with is not per se, again, of the electromagnetic spectrum. This is not electricity. So with these instruments, we can improve human health. We do it all remotely by way of photographs. It's quite fascinating. It's quite incredible. And I think the audience will really appreciate what we're going to share.
So Tom, let's explain to them what exactly is scalar energy and what do you do with it I mentioned in your intro that people are sending you testimonials of being freed of things that we've all been told we cannot get rid of.
Right, thank you. So one of the things that I've discovered with this energy, scalar energy, what people call zero-point energy, it controls formation, the physical formation of, in this case, microbes or viruses, bacteria, and fungi. And in so doing, with a scalar light instrument, we can break apart a virus, we can break apart a bacterium, we can break apart a fungus. Now, we do this all by way of light, which is easy, simple, it's benign. And in so doing, we see people improve. We see their health improve. So consider what I'm saying. With this type of technology, this type of instrumentation, we can easily break down microbes in the body and return people to health.
And one of the analogies I've used in the past that I think helps people understand, it's kind of like the scalar energy goes into the microbe or the virus and like pulls the scaffolding out. So then the whole thing kind of collapses, right?
I like that. I like that analogy. If you look at a building is held up by trusses, by 2x4s, by a certain structure, if you will, or scaffolding. And that's what we're doing with a germ, with a microbe. We're taking out that structure, that actual physical structure that holds together a pathogen or a microbe. In that germ falls apart.
That's so cool. And tell them how you do this. How is a scalar session conducted? If I'm somebody that decides I want to take advantage of the herpes challenge that we have put out there to people, and I want to experience scalar energy, what do I do, and then what happens? What's my experience like?
Sure. Well, again, scalar is not electricity, so there are different principles, there are different laws that govern scalar energy. When I work with people, I work with them remotely by way of a photograph. So a scalar energy instrument works on the capacity of a satellite. If a satellite can send a signal or intelligence to a cell phone or to a satellite dish, I likewise can send information to anybody in the world by way of this scalar light instrument. It's quite profound. And in so doing, this instrument will then send a signal into the human body. So my instrument works like a satellite. I work with people remotely by way of the photograph. And in so doing, when a person receives that signal, the signal instructs viruses, bacteria, and fungi to fall apart. It's fascinating what we can do with this energy. It's absolutely incredible. And once the world really gravitates to this and understands our ability here, they'll be on board. They'll see the merit of this modality.
Why a picture, Tom? What does the picture provide for your instruments?
Okay, if we can speak to people by way of a cell phone, there is a signal that is sent to a cell phone number. Or if somebody has a satellite dish, that satellite dish is peculiar to picking up a signal by way of its calibration, if you will. Well, everybody has a personal calibration or a personal phone number. And in this case, a photograph of a person is their personal identification. It's their personal phone number. So if two cell phones can find one another by way of a phone number, my scalar light instrument can find a person by way of a photograph. All I need is a photograph of a person's skin. I know it sounds different. It sounds quite groundbreaking. It is, but this is the behavior. This is what we experience with scalar light.
You know, Tom, something that just occurred to me that we haven't really talked about before, but I know in the concept of a hologram, they teach that whatever impacts one teeny part of the hologram impacts the whole thing. Yes. Is that sort of the idea that we're looking at here when you have a picture of someone's skin? That's like the hologram?
Yes, precisely. And what does that call to mind? Well, then the universe is interconnected. We see some connection, some underlying connection in which you can relate to, you can access anybody in the universe by way of that holographic paradigm. And precisely, Paula, one point in the hologram really connects to every other object in that hologram. Quite profound, but this is what I find to be true with scalar light. It's a holographic paradigm.
You know, we've never put it out like that before, but I get it in a new way.
Yes.
And so it's just kind of like I remember reading somewhere that whatever message affects one cell goes, the message goes to all the cells in a matter of, a millisecond.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Some people call that the mind of God. Some people call that the intelligence or consciousness of the universe. Mm-hmm. That indeed is a true principle. That is a scientific principle in which, in a scalar light paradigm, everything is interconnected. So all cells communicate with one another instantaneously.
Wow. So when you dismantle the scaffolding of that virus or that microbe, it's happening to every bit of that virus or microbe in the body, wherever it might be. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
I see.
So this is the beauty of when we're working with scalar light. It's a simple, painless technique. All we need is a photograph of anybody in order to effectively reach that person and to be able to eradicate the germs, the microbes in their body. So imagine it's painless, and you don't have to even get in your car to visit a clinic.
Right.
All done remotely by way of a photograph. Now, again, this instrument works like a satellite, and you could say, well, you know, it's different. Maybe it's hard to believe, but, you know, put yourself in this context. Maybe, I don't know, 100 years ago, if we told you you could have a cell phone and you could speak to anybody in the world by virtue of that cell phone, you might find that difficult to believe. Well, that's what we have. We have a universal cell phone, so to speak, with scalar light. You don't need a physical wire connecting to people. Right. All you need is scalar light. And indeed, we can reach people around the world by way of their photograph. So this really presents a very simple, straightforward, inexpensive healing paradigm for the world. We can work with the world. We can treat the world remotely by way of a photograph.
That is so amazing. And yes, it does sound pretty sci-fi. But like you said, you know, the very thing we do with cell phones, how about email?
Yeah.
You know, I'm still astounded every time I'm talking to my assistant and I go, okay, I just sent it to you. And 2 seconds later, she goes, oh, yeah, I've got it. Yeah. How on earth does that happen, you know?
Great analogy. Great analogy. What is it? It's a transfer of electrical signal, but it carries with it information. And everybody who reads their email is receiving a signal of information. Well, if you can do that with information, then you can likewise do that with scalar information.
Yes.
And it is, I know it's quite profound, but it's true, it's accurate.
Yes, and we're going to be talking more about this and the herpes challenge when we come back from this little break. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. And with me today is Tom Paladino, one of our sponsors and one of our favorite people who is changing the world in a really dramatic way. Tom has put together through his research and technology, has come up with an instrument that can send a signal of scalar energy to people that can cause the viruses, the microbes, bacteria in their body to deconstruct, therefore leading to no more condition of having that virus or that microbe impacting your health. I know it sounds pretty wild, but as I have shared on past episodes of this show, I went through the free scalar sessions that he offers, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment. I did it. I said to Tom, well, some people are going to say this is too good to be true. So let me experience it, and then I will do the tests that you talk about, and let's see what my results are. And as I have shared before and shown on to my Facebook live stream viewers, my results came back that I was now negative for having any DNA of the herpes 1 virus in my system. So what that means for me is bye-bye cold sores. No more of those days when something really big and important is happening and you wake up in the morning and there it is. So, Tom, for that, I am eternally grateful to you.
You're welcome.
And I know there are many other people out there right now, too, because not only because of the herpes challenge, but because you have been working very hard to get the word out there in the whole world about scalar energy sessions and what they can do to improve people's health.
Yes, indeed.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add to that. All that Paula had to do in order to have the herpes virus eradicated from her body is to submit a photograph to me. Now, Paula lives in California. I live in Florida. The process was simple. All I need is a photograph. She did not have to change her diet. She did not have to make any amendments to her lifestyle. And the entire process, if I may say so, was painless. Paula, you did not have any discomfort?
None.
Okay. So all of that serves to really crystallize our thoughts as to how simple, easy, painless this is, and how pennies on the dollar we now have affordable health care.
Yes.
Okay? By way of a photograph. Now, Paula and I have often toyed with this idea. In the future, we see that scalar energy, scalar light, will be the new Amazon of the world. It will be the new type of technology that will take the world by storm, so to speak, because it's so simple. It's made available to anybody in the world. What's my point with Amazon? Well, they're an international company now, and they can provide goods and services that were not readily available prior to their inception. So we see that this is going to be, if you will, the Amazon of healthcare or the Uber of healthcare, because it's technology, and it's technology that makes it so simple, so easy.
And Tom, one of the things I love best about it is this technology can be available to third world countries, to people who could not afford health care, who suffer all the time from HIV, from herpes, from Ebola, from these things that can really be debilitating and cause awful experiences and trauma in your life.
Yes.
And and one of the things we haven't mentioned yet is that you can also do this with a group photograph, right?
Yes. We actually have Christian missionaries in Africa who go town to town, village to village, taking photographs of thousands of people. And some of those photographs, as you mentioned, are group photographs. Now imagine what I'm saying. It could be a photograph of one person, a group photograph of 2 or 3 people, or a photograph, say, from a church congregation of 500 people. All that is needed is some part of the skin to be photographed in order to be effectively administered this energy. It's a game changer. I've often said that the scalar light instruments could easily administer energy, healing energy, to 5 million people a day. Provide me 5 million photographs and we'll be able to eradicate the pathogens in the body of 5 million people per day.
God, that would be so wonderful. And it's like an incredible miracle, only it's real. It's not only a miraculous discovery, but it's repeatable. You can do it every day because you have the instrumentation. And Tom, would you explain what are the 3 areas that are actually addressed when people sign up to do the free scalar treatment?
Sure. there are three modalities. Number one, we can eliminate germs. We can break apart germs, microbes. Number two, we can balance the chakras. I've understood and I've experienced that scalar light is really the animating force of chakras. And with a scalar light instrument, we can easily balance the 7 chakras, the meridians of the body. And the third modality, we're able to assemble nutrients inside the body. Scalar energy allows us to assemble vitamins, antioxidants, fatty acids, amino acids inside the body. So it's great for nutritional support. Mm-hmm. Now, these are just some of the things we can do with scalar light. Again, it's an energy dimension that is not of the electromagnetic dimension. It's incredible what you can achieve with scalar light. And we want everybody in the world to really resonate with this and to understand where we're going with this. We are going to change the world with this new technology. Get on board. This is very real. What Paula has mentioned is she was able to simply, painlessly eradicate the herpes virus, which, by the way, is very common. Many people, most of the people have herpes 1. You can get herpes 1 simply by kissing somebody who has herpes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Paula was able to eradicate herpes 1 from her body simply by submitting a photograph to me. And after years of infection and after years of going through painful outbreaks, she is now herpes-free, and she has the test result to prove that. She did not have to change her diet. She did not have to change anything. She was able to do that by way of this light instrument.
And she didn't have to spend thousands of dollars, which we know is a huge issue with medical care today. It was painless. I got an email each day telling me what had been done as far as a scalar treatment on me. And but I didn't feel anything in particular, but I will say this. Oh, and Tom, I think one thing that we should mention, because many people who are signing up for the free scalar sessions for 15 days, it's a 15-day free trial. Mm-hmm. I had one gal who called me, and she was thrilled. She'd had no outbreaks in over a month, and then she got a little outbreak, and she was like devastated and worried. And what did you tell me when we experienced this? And I experienced it too, right?
Sure. That when we see maybe what we would consider a minor outbreak after the sessions have begun, it's usually a sign that the damaged nerves are still sending out a signal. But those signals usually stop within a short period of time.
Yes.
And what Paula experienced is she likewise had just a little, what I would call a remnant of a blister or irritation. That's to be understood. I understand that. Fair enough. But the long and short of it is this. After a long period of time, after being infected for years, Paula now is without symptoms. Paula does not have any symptomology whatsoever of the herpes virus. And that's the proof in the pudding. Yes, she has a test result that shows it's negative. There's no viral load. But even more importantly, Paula no longer has any outbreaks. She no longer has any skin eruptions. She is free of the herpes virus.
And I think something equally important is that, this is a contagious virus, right? And everybody worries about giving it to somebody else. After this, you don't have the DNA. You cannot give it to someone else. And that's pretty wonderful. And yes, I had I think I probably shared the picture with you, Tom, for sure. One day I saw what looked like it was going to be an eruption, and then I thought, I'm just going to ride this out and see what's really happening. And by the next day, it was gone with me not doing anything. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, take the herpes challenge. Go to freescalar.net. That's freescalar.net. Sign up for the 15-day free trial. All you have to do is download a picture onto the site. Tom does the rest. And I'm telling you, you've got the potential right here, right now, of changing your life and never again having to deal with debilitating illness from any of these viruses or microbes.
Yeah.
So, Tom Paladino, I'm so glad you're on the planet. I'm so glad you're in my life. And thank you for being with us once again.
God bless. I'm going to mention to the audience one website in which they can visit and sign up for the free sessions, the free 15-day trial, Paula.
Okay.
And that is freescalar.net. I'll spell scalar, SCALAR.
Good idea.
Freescalar.net is one of our websites that will allow anybody in the world to visit to register for 15 days of free scalar energy sessions. And in so doing, you'll see the difference. You'll see how you feel. You'll see how this will make a change in your life for the better.
You can live without these viruses. Thank you, Tom, and thank you to all my listeners. We will see you next week. And remember, you can hear us on AM 1170 and FM 96.1 on Sunday evenings at 9. We're on every major podcast platform and iHeartRadio. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
With us. We look forward to being with you again next week. And we're going to have another great show with a very interesting guest. So be with us. In the meantime, have a blessed week. Take care. Bye-bye.